All right, guys, we will kick it off. It is 11 a.m. And so by way of introduction, if I haven't met you, good to meet you virtually. My name is James Patterson. I'm National BDM at Valiant Finance. We have the honor, the privilege today to be joined by Ben White, who is founder and CEO of FYI Business Coaching. Welcome, Ben.
G'day, James. Good to see you again.
Likewise, mate. So Ben's going to be joining us for part of the webinar to talk to some real world experience that he has had both in business and also in partnering with Valiant. So really looking forward to hearing from Ben. In terms of what we're going to cover today, so we're really going to focus on how we work with our partners. And when I say partners, I mean mortgage brokers, accountants, financial planners, generally those types of businesses that have clients who run small businesses. We're going to focus on how to grow and diversify your business, but I really want to focus this webinar on, actionable steps that you can take to really start to do this in your business today. And I think what I don't want to spend too much time on, but I will quickly cover is if you haven't worked with Valiant before, 30-second rundown. We've been around for a decade. We focus on business and commercial lending. We've got about 90 lenders that we work with, and we partner with mortgage brokers, accountants, financial planners to help them provide finance to their clients without hiring additional staff, without adding costs to their business. So as a nice way to diversify your business, keep your clients more sticky, and really get into this space a lot more easy with the support, the strategic partnership with Valiant. But look, that's enough about us. What I really want to jump into is for the webinar for today. So look, the advisor growth question. So these are some of the key questions that we're asked. I'm asked, the team is asked constantly by our partners. And when I say the advisor growth question, a lot of our partners, when they're initially working in their businesses, especially if it's early stage in the business, they're focusing on their core business, and they might just be doing that. So as a resi broker, you might just be focusing on the resi mortgages. As if you're an accountant, you may be just focusing on your accounting service. And so what we work with partners on is how to start to think of yourself more as an advisor for your small business clients when it comes to their finance needs, when it comes to looking at their businesses holistically. And so some of the key questions that we're asked are things like, how do I increase my revenue per client? How do I deepen client relationships? And I guess related to that is avoid being transactional in nature. And also something related to that is, how do I grow without chasing constant new leads? And so what we'll cover today is ways that we can look at all of these, I guess, problems that our partners have with their clients, and around how can we make our clients more sticky? How can we deepen those relationships so that they're coming back to us for their finance needs, rather than maybe going to a competitor who already offers that and then losing your core business to them. So there's some of the things we'll be covering, some questions we'll be answering today. And the untapped revenue layer. So if we speak around sort of revenue first, it's interesting times at the moment. Partners that I'm speaking with, it's kind of, they're either going gangbusters or they're saying, actually, we're struggling for leads. It's a real kind of dichotomy, a real mix. But the good news is that if you've got self-employed clients, and, we're working with partners every day where it might only be 20, 30% of their client base that are self-employed. But if you're working with self-employed clients, the great news is they've already got these finance problems out there. And they're generally looking for finance at least 1 to 2 times a year in our experience. But they're already managing their cash flow. They're already purchasing assets and equipment, expanding their operations, hiring staff. A lot of the time they're navigating growth styles, the ups and downs as they grow, the sort of cash shortages versus cash shortages maybe from late payments coming in versus cash shortages where they've got a large contract they need to fulfill. So the beauty of all these problems that your clients currently face is that there's a finance need underlying each of them. And really putting yourself as an advisor in their finance needs allows you to start to really sort of position yourself as a trusted advisor in this space. And it's problems they already have that you can provide a solution to, because if you haven't worked much in the business and commercial space, it can be quite a complex space to play in. The amount of lenders and products out there, different solutions, is a bit of a myriad. And so what we're going to try and do is simplify that and find a way where you can easily talk to your clients around their finance needs and then the next steps to help action and do more in that space. So it's a bit of a mindset shift. So what commercial finance is not, if you're getting into business and commercial finance, it doesn't mean you need to get direct lender accreditations. It doesn't mean that you need to replace your core service. It's just an extension of your core service and your core brand. And you don't actually need to upskill in terms of technically understanding all the different business and commercial finance. That's what we specialize in. And the beauty is that you focus on your core business, but don't have to become the expert in that space. And so what it really means is it's an extension of your advisory value. So you're already valuable to your clients, are already using you for one, maybe multiple services. So it's really just extending that to say, how can I capture whole of all of my clients? How can I be more useful to them, keep them more sticky to my core business? And it's a nice way we can say yes more often. It's the amount of times that I speak to partners almost on a daily basis where, they said to me, oh, I've got PAYG clients that come to me for a car loan. I just say, sorry, I can't help. Or I've got a self-employed client that needs an unsecured business loan. And I'll say, look, I don't play in that space, speak to this person or just a flat no. So it's just a nice way where if your clients are coming to you with those finance issues, you can now say yes to them, add that extra value to them. And as I kind of touched on, it's a strategic growth channel. So you're not only increasing your income in the business, you're diversifying and de-risking your income by sort of adding on this extra layer. But I want to get into the highlight for the webinar today. So I'm going to pass you over to Ben White. Ben, I've been working with Ben probably for a good 2 to 3 years now. We did some work together with his firm in Valiant, and he's doing some great work in the industry. So Ben, I'll let you do an introduction to yourself.
Thank you, James. Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name's Ben, and previously in my former life, I was a mortgage broker from 1998 through to 2024 when we sold the business for 7 figures. Just before that time frame, James, I think it's been about four and a bit years that we've known each other. And yeah, when I was at Dale Street at Brookvale, I remember you first came and visited me. And look, we were looking for a solution. And that's what you gave it to us. And I've moved on now, and I'm coaching new to industry mentees. As a mentor, I'm also coaching businesses who have kind of got to a level where they're a little bit stale, and those businesses are anything from 3, 4, 5 years old up to 20 years old. And so I've been helping them fill the gaps and helping them with different parts of their business where they don't have time to stop and evaluate what they need to do and strategically plan in parts of their business. So that's been something I've been doing a lot of in the last 26 months. So I'm into year 3. I suppose the reason that you came to Valiant so much, and we're going to get into these examples soon, is I'm a big believer in diversification, and I believe you should be able to offer these services to your clients. But what I did find is that, as your slide suggests, every single time that I tried to diversify, I found my core business suffered. And so that's why Valiant ended up being such a great business partner for us.
Yeah, excellent. No, and I think Ben, when we initially started working together, it was interesting because sometimes when you're running a brokerage, you're focusing on that core resi a lot of the time. You're like, okay, what are my options here? Am I going to hire staff to try and do the business and commercial, within the business? Obviously, hiring staff comes with its own problems, getting the hiring right, maybe having to fire, etc. Looking at sort of how you dedicate and I guess allocate your resources and your time.
Absolutely. It was, look, throughout my career, we have had brokers who came on board and did asset finance for us and commercial. What I noticed is with commercial, obviously it's a long transaction time. And so when you got somebody on from an employer perspective, you're really looking at a lead time of 6 months before any revenue came in the door. And that's a really big investment. And we found that some of the commercial that was being thrown at us, there was a lot of deals that we just simply couldn't do. And then you realize that maybe the person you hired wasn't right in that expertise level. And one person trying to handle all these different inquiries, the same with asset finance. It was a minefield to try and hire the right person. And I think, again, when we started to speak, we were able to diversify by saying to our clients, we'd go into the fact find and we'd look at the opportunities that are available to us. And the conversation kind of went, well, we've got business partners who handle this specifically for us. Let us introduce you to them.
Yeah. Yeah, no, makes a lot of sense. I think our first deal was we got there. It was a plumber in South Australia, and they were basically went to the banks, I believe, couldn't get bank funding, and then
Yes.
needed some other options, and were able to get them a solution in the end.
Yes.
So yeah, it
Yeah,
started with that,
he
and
was
yeah,
trying to go. He went through about 4 different lenders on his own.
okay,
Then he inquired with us because we were looking after his home loan,
mm,
and I shopped it to a few lenders too because I did have commercial accreditation. I was just not using it, and we didn't get any joy out of it at all. And then I came to you, and you were able to link us up with one of your specialists, and settled it, I think, within 6 weeks.
yeah,
So,
nice.
yeah, everyone was happy. It was a win-win-win.
Yeah, excellent. And look, I think, it was a great start to the relationship with those commercial, property deals. They can take weeks or months, but at the same time, a lot of the deals in this space, your unsecured business loans, line of credits, your car loans, asset finance, some of those can get done same day or, within 24, 48
Mm.
hours. So a lot of the deals in this space are quick and can be nice where it's like your client needs a fast solution. Maybe they don't have documentation, they don't have the time, etc. So there's a lot of sort of creative and flexible solutions for that. And I guess it's a nice way where, especially if you're new to market as a resi broker, it takes a while for those resi loans to settle and get paid. And so in between there, if you open your clients with sort of business, car finance, etc., that are settling sort of, each week, and could just be a nice way to build cash flow in your business as you sort of grow your business as well.
Absolutely. It was a great cash flow for us. And it was great to be able to pre-position the client and say, look, we don't specifically do that in-house, but we do have business partners. We kind of called it a division. We call Valiant like a division of our business because when they spoke to your team, they kind of felt as though they were just speaking to another person in our team,
Yeah.
which was we pre-positioned that with the client, and it was great. And the thing I liked about your team is that they let us do as much or as little, um, relaying things back to the client. Which I think I came to you at one stage and said, "Oh, there's a couple of deals here we haven't had much success."
Mm.
And it was just because we were the trusted advisor and we needed the information, the help. And you said, no problem. We'll just feed you the information. You feed it back to the client because you got the relationship. And
Yeah.
our success rate just skyrocketed just for those short term kind of asset deals.
Yeah, no, big time. And we did got a great role of asset deals settled for your clients, which was fantastic. We just had a comment actually come in from
Absolutely.
Trini, and it's a really good point. Trini wasn't doing any asset or commercial previously. She actually believed at the start that she needed qualifications or a license to do finance in this space. Which look, that isn't the case. So if you don't have the qualifications, the license, accreditations in this space, that's where you can lean on Valiant. Through our spot and refer, basically, we act as a loan writer on the deal. You act as a referrer. So it's a nice way where you can position us as a strategic partner, a bit like Ben did, where we're able to write the loans. It all comes under our compliance, best interest duty, etc. But it's a nice way where you can start in this space without having to get the accreditations or qualifications, etc. So thanks, Trudy. I think that's a really important point. And then I guess, Ben, maybe if you want to give us a quick minute or two, I mean, there's obviously so much you could talk about in terms of, growing your business. And I know you do a lot of, seminars and coaching sessions. But I guess if you were talking to sort of business owners who are are starting out to looking to grow their business. Is there any sort of key focus points? And I'm putting you on the spot here, but is there any sort of key focus points you see as like maybe I guess common errors with business owners as they're sort of growing their business? Maybe some themes that you get your mentees to kind of focus on to help them, I guess, avoid costly mistakes?
Yeah, look, how much time have we got, James?
Mate,
It's
I'm going
really
to cap you at 2 minutes.
look. Since I transitioned from being a mortgage broker over to being a business coach, it's given me the insight. Look, I'll be honest. Like, there's things that I was in my own little bubble, and I things that I'm realizing now, while I'm looking at looking over 20 odd businesses, 20 plus businesses now. I'm seeing what everyone's doing and what they're not doing well, what they are doing well. And I think the main thing is that so many businesses are trying to do too much. They really are trying to be all things to everyone. And I think some of the most successful people that I'm mentoring and coaching at the moment are very, very good at their niche in their space, and they really stay in their lane. But they are using other services externally or outsourcing everything that's not their key. And that's working really, really well. And if you develop these really good relationships, like buyers agents and real estate agents and accountants and financial planners, rather than, I mean, we wouldn't go out and try and be a financial planner whilst be a mortgage broker. It's just not, it's nonsensical. And what I am seeing is that the people that diversify, stay in the lane, but diversify and build their business with strategic business partners are winning. And as you pointed out, the cash flow was great for us. It meant that we didn't have employment overheads, which are very costly and very risky, because you're competing with so many other different people. And I really found that it was just a great solution. And I've had you on our Wednesday group chat with all my mentees promoting Valiant, because I really believe it's a great alternative to having some extra bodies in your business. And a lot of my mentees, I think a few of them signed up and contacted you straight away with the business cash flow in anticipation for, I think we're in August or September, and you pointed out that a lot of businesses are trying to buy stock in anticipation for the holiday Christmas period. And one of my mentees, I think, sent you about 3 or 4 deals in a week. Yeah. So he was absolutely stoked.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point. And I think we're seeing a trend in the industry as well. It's like those that are winning kind of have a particular niche. They go deep on the niche and focus on that. And then, like you say, they use those strategic partnerships to be able to, I guess, be diversified and sort of de-risking their business while keeping the client sticky.
Absolutely.
But I think it'd be nice, I guess, to put this in, a real world case study, a real world scenario example. And this was one of the clients that you had referred to us. Maybe do you want to talk us a bit through sort of this client and sort of what their challenges were?
Yeah, so we referred this client through, at the time, we had an associated business with under the same roof, which was finance education. And this person came through that channel, and we're looking at refinancing the home loan. And I was asking him, I said, so we're looking into your tax returns, self-employed person. He's got an online store. It was martial arts and mixed MMA gear. And we're looking at the store. He was doing really well and adding new SKU lines all the time. And we kind of said, well, where do you get your funding and your cash flow from? And this was just after we'd had I'd had a meeting with you. And he said, oh, look, Shopify, who we do our online store through, they've been offering us credit. Because we've had some steady cash flow on the portal, it started to alert us that we would be eligible for certain amounts, and it started at 20 grand because I could see, obviously, through the algorithm some steady cash flow. Then it went up to 30, 40, 50, 60, and he thought, this is great because I can buy new stock and have it ready. And when I contacted him, I said, what's the interest rate? And he said, I have no idea. So we looked into it, and he gave me all the numbers. He wasn't able to work it out himself. And I did a bit of a spreadsheet and worked out that it was close to like 18%. So he would have been better off with a credit card. And then I came to you and I said, look, this is the scenario. What can we do here? And I think we ended up sorting it out within about 2 days. And we'd replaced that. We'd got a much cheaper option. It was more flexible from memory, so that he didn't have to take a big chunk at one time. He could just take what he wanted. Monthly repayments were reduced dramatically. And, of course, that improved his margins. He wasn't aware that his margins, what he thought were certain margins, had really been squeezed. And by us just identifying this opportunity, we've saved him so much money. It actually also, because we could then prove to the lender through the tax returns and through the increased, we showed where the costs were in his business, we were actually able to get a cash out for him to do a renovation for his home loan because we'd reduced this facility down. So it was a major win for him. And I know that he went on to increase that facility, and the business is booming, absolutely booming.
Yeah, and look, there's a couple of kind of common themes in there. I think something that we're seeing more and more often now is, the likes of Shopify, the likes of Stripe, they're able to see the business that's going through, the income that's going through the business, and are offering these lines of credit or these facilities where, again, it might not be the best solution for the client, but it's there. They can click a button and they've got instant access to it. So I think one is like taking that step back with the client and go, well, let's explore just to make sure we've got the best finance solution for what you actually need. So I think that's sort of a key theme that we're seeing in the market at the moment, which is, it's saving clients a lot of money and a lot of time. But the other one you touched on, which is a big one, is a lot of partners work with us where they might have other sort of longer term strategic finance needs, but they might need to do some creative finance solutions in the short term to get them in a position where they can then activate those major lenders or that even cheaper finance that's going to help them long term. So it could be a nice way, whether it's ATO debt that you're hoping them to get out of, that's going to unlock other lenders for other finance, as a good example. But again, that's just another sort of great part of the solution. So, look, in terms of where the opportunity already exists, so the great news is the majority of our partners, the majority of you guys are going to have a portion of your client base that are self-employed, and you really want to look out for them. What I always encourage partners, because partners will say to me every day, and they'll say to our team, how can I unlock these opportunities? How can I uncover them? And one of the simplest ways is every conversation you have, whether it's in person or on the phone, to a self-employed client about your core offering, just take that extra 4 to 5 minutes on the call in the meeting, just to dig in around, how their business is doing, and some key points, some key questions you can ask is around sort of, if they're expanding or hiring, if they're seeing cash flow fluctuations in terms of cash flow shortages, if they've got any asset or vehicle purchases coming up, maybe they're actually looking to purchase their property they're currently renting, which is going to save them funds and be a long-term growth asset. And again, around the tax planning strategies as well for the asset purchases. But if you're kind of taking those extra few minutes in every conversation, what you'll find is that, one, your clients most of the time had no idea you could hold them this type of finance, but two, you'll realize that they actually have finance needs more often than you think. And so just by asking some of those key questions, delving a bit further into their business, And just taking that extra few minutes on each call or meeting is just a really nice way to unlock those opportunities that you can then say, actually, you know what? Let me introduce you to Valiant, our strategic partner, or let us have a conversation with Valiant around your options. So there's various ways you can market and generate more business, but low hanging fruit is literally in those existing conversations, just some of those key questions and delving a bit deeper.
Yeah, we used to call it the magic wand.
Okay.
The magic wand was the conversation where, like, I encourage all of the people I coach and my mentees, get curious, get
Mm,
really curious about the business and the person that you're dealing with, and take the time, like you said, to ask the questions,
mm,
because we used to call it the magic wand, and you'd basically say to them, "So, James, if you had a magic wand and you could change anything in your business right now, what would it be?"
mm,
And it just opens up their mind to, oh, I'd love to have 6 more cars or 6 more trucks on the road.
mhm,
I'd love to have my own commercial premises. I would love to have 100 grand more to buy some more stock. I would love to have all these different things, because in the back of
mm.
their mind, they know what they want. They
Yep.
know how their business is going to be driven forward.
Mm, mm,
And it's really, I think, a matter of being curious and
mm.
asking them, what is going to unlock your business for you so that you can take it to the next level?
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, great way to frame it. Again, it even a lot of the time, I think the beauty of that is like one, a lot of the time business owners are so into the day to day, they don't take that, step back, I guess, where you guys are presenting them with an opportunity for 4 or 5 minutes of their day to take a step out of their business and just think strategically, what do I actually want? A lot of the time, maybe business owners won't even think that that's possible, won't even explore the option to get maybe fast track to where they want to get to because they don't think it's possible. But then when you have the conversation and you realize, well, actually, you've got these 3 loans in place already, and the reason maybe you think you can't achieve this goal 6 to 12 months down the track is because you've got no cash flow, because they're eating up, their repayments are eating up all your cash flow. So actually, let's see if there's any refinance opportunities to refinance those 3 loans into one that's going to significantly lower your cash flow liabilities each month. That's going to free up that cash flow to then maybe take on those larger projects or do X, Y, and Z. So yeah, I love that. It's a really great analogy.
Yeah. Look, most business owners are so big. Business is hard. Most business owners are taking so much time in dealing with the new clients, looking after the old clients, making sure that the deal actually settles. To take time and look at your business and analyze your own business, most people, aren't trained for that. They don't have the skill set. So when you come to a trusted advisor where you can, like a mortgage broker or an accountant or a financial advisor, it's a great time to reflect and take time and have a good look at your business. And that's why I suppose I'm so busy at the moment as a business coach, because having the luxury of being out of my bubble and now seeing everything that everyone else is doing, it is those people who take the time to really have a look at their business with someone else who's not in the business, who can help them navigate through these options for them. That is paying massive dividends. And I've just seen so many people have this epiphany. Why haven't I done this? And I can tell them, I know why you haven't done it, because you're busy.
Yeah.
And this is what you get external help for.
Yeah. Yeah. Great point. Um, So, look, I think in terms of this is probably like a main pain point. A lot of feedback that we hear is, I guess, a lot of accountants we work with, a lot of mortgage brokers. Initially, they're saying, "Look, I can't offer commercial finance because I don't understand it, or I can't offer unsecured business loans or asset finance because I don't understand it." Um, and I guess what we try and do is just break down, the simple steps to be able to sort of demystify it and make it easy so that either you can, like Ben said, have a strategic partner, potentially like Valiant, where we, you know, do the heavy lifting for your clients, and as part of that, you start to actually build your knowledge and expertise just through actual live deals and scenarios that you're doing with Valiant. But don't think that you need to be able to put together the deal and, you know, package it up and put it on a plate to pass it over to Valiant or to the lender. You don't need to know, which lenders and products are out there. We've got 90 odd lenders on our panel, but there's hundreds of lenders out there. Across our 90 lenders, there's something like 500 products, and there's always new lenders and products coming out to serve a new particular niche. And so we've been very selective in our lender panel to only choose those lenders that are best in their niche. So one, it means we can go quite broad in finding the best solution for your clients, but two is it means generally your clients are going to get the best deal on the market. So it is complex. You don't have to feel like you need to be an expert or know each lender. And you definitely don't need to worry about trying to be a credit analyst in this space, which can be quite different to maybe resi space, or if you're in accounting, you haven't done much in the finance space. So a lot of those blockers that we see every day is like, I think they're sort of a misunderstanding of what's needed. And so we just try and make it as easy as possible. And that's what we focus on. Look, the main focus for you is you've got the relationships with the clients. You are expert with your clients and with your core offering. All you need to do is have those conversations to identify the need. You start to open up those conversations and then just introduce Valiant early. Obviously when you start working with Valiant, we like to build a relationship with our partners so that they can trust us with their clients. But probably about 90% of the partners I work with spot and refer. They have us handle the clients, keep them updated. And it's a nice way where you're doing what you do best. You're building relationships with your clients and you're identifying those needs, the deals, to then be able to help your clients. You can stay central to the client relationship as well, especially for your VIP clients or initially when you start working with the likes of Valiant. So we are flexible there, but it's a nice way where you can just focus on that sort of top of funnel and managing your clients, getting to know them better, which ideally is going to unlock more opportunities for your core business as well. So look, in terms of support, and I guess I want to break this down because there's various ways that we work with our partners to support them. Obviously, we can run the deals either with yourself or with your client, but across those 90 odd lenders, those 500 odd products, it just is a nice way where instead of you thinking, can I help with this type of finance? Can I help with that? Am I going to have to say no to that? You can now have one place to go to, one strategic partner where you can say, actually, to all my clients, I can help you now with any type of finance, any type of business, commercial finance, consumer car loans, for example. And the beauty, I guess, of and how you can frame it to your clients is one, hey, this is a strategic partner, Valiant, that handles business and commercial finance. But two, if your clients, sometimes clients are wary, they're like, oh, look, I went to my bank and they said, no, I don't think I've got any options. But it's a nice way where you can frame it to say to your client, hey, the way we work with Valiant is that we only run soft credit checks up front. There's no hard marks on credit files. We will de-risk the deal by workshopping with the multiple lenders that we think are best suited to that particular deal. And only then will we come back to either yourself or your client with the indicative quote. If that works for your client and yourself, we can then build a story around the business to put in the best light to get hopefully the approval and settlement from the lender and take it from formal application and hard credit check. But prior to that, if you feel like you and your client are like, actually, this isn't the right solution for us right now, they can walk away, no harm done, because there's no hard credit checks. So it's a nice way where you can say to your client, look, it's a risk-free analysis to find the best deal on the market, the best solution. And if they don't like it, no harm done. But something else we really like to do, and something we've been hearing in the industry is, I don't know how to generate leads in this space, or I don't know how to unlock leads in this space on my existing client base. And so what we've done is we generate a lot of content, a lot of marketing content, scenario examples, case studies, where it's a nice way where if you wanted to start to upskill yourself in this space, you can do. And also, if you want to start marketing to your client base, marketing to referral partners, or broadly marketing out to the market, then you've got that content to be able to do so as well. So look, two easy ways to get started. And what I generally say is if there's a barrier in your head around like, I can't get in this space, I'm too busy, I just don't have the time. Again, just bring it back to have those conversations with the clients. Spot and refer, you can drop us an email, give us a call. It's as simple as that. We can chat through the scenarios. And if it looks like a deal, we can work with you or the client to get it done. The other option is if you do have the time, if you do have the staff, some of our partners also like to what we call do it yourself, whereas they put it through the platform. It's a bit more work up front on your end. We'll work with you or your colleagues on the deal. It means you get 50% doing it through the platform versus 30% spot and refer. But what I find is 90% of my partners actually do spot and refer. Even though you're getting less commission on the deal, overall they're going to make more income and do better in their business, because one, it frees up their time to focus on their core offering, which is going to be their main income stream. But number two, it allows them to focus on building their business, building more leads to do in this space. So overall, they're going to make more income from this side of the business. But also the beauty of what they find is that as they get known, so, resi brokers I work with, accountants I work with, as they get known within their own client base that, oh, actually, they can now help me with any type of business and commercial finance. What they find is their existing clients start bringing in new clients. They're like, hey, my friend here, or, my family member, or this person from my network, they actually need a business loan or a car loan. Let me refer them. And so you start to get new clients for your core business as well through this. So it can be a nice way to generate leads for your core business as well. So look, simple to get started. Start those client conversations, spot the opportunity, drop us an email, give us a call. Happy to work with you. And if you want to understand a bit more about how it works, get in touch today. More than happy to assist. But what I really wanted to give us some time for is to really have a bit of time for a Q&A. So if you do have any questions that you would like to ask, please do put them in the comments. And while we're waiting to see if anyone comes through on the Q&A, if you did want to get in touch with either myself, the team, or Ben at FYI Business Coaching, those are the details there that you can use to get in touch with us. And Ben, I guess I just wanted to open up if there's any sort of general comments you had, anything you wanted to add while we're just waiting for the questions to come through.
Yeah, look, I just found the your system, Sahara. Am I getting that right?
Savannah.
Sorry,
Yep.
I knew I was going to get
Close.
Savannah was really good. Yeah. When we'd get a lead in, we actually opted to just put it in the system. I think we're just used to it as being mortgage brokers. We're used to putting it into a system, and putting it into Savannah was great. I think the user interface was very easy. I liked the way that when we put a lot of the details in, it started to give us a picture of what the options were, and which lenders would be an option and which lenders wouldn't be an option. It helped us with a conversation, and essentially we could say, look, from what we can see here, there's about an option of 12 lenders. Of course, we will need to confirm that by way of, probably some pay slips or some tax returns or BAS statements or something like that. But it was a great way of having some information, giving some feedback to the client before we actually pass them on to your team.
Yeah, and look, it's interesting. The guys have done a fantastic job on developing this platform. The beauty is it bakes all our 90 plus lender credit policies into the platform. So it means that by putting in some key information, you can very quickly get an idea of, the type of indicative quote that's likely going to be a solution for your client. And I guess it gives you some, puts the power in your hands initially when you're having those conversations to say, look, it looks like I've got some solutions here. This is what it might look like. You can either then continue to go through the portal and sort of do it yourself, or at least you can have those conversations where you're giving the client the confidence to then say, okay, let me introduce you to Valiant to take it forward. But you're right, the guys have, fantastic platform. We partnered with one of the major technology companies in the world, and we're expanding it out across, internationally now. So it's a really great piece of tech. If you want access to the platform, do get in touch with us. It's free of charge. You can get access to that today as well. And it's a great way as well. A lot of clients we work with, where they might have multiple deals in play with us, they can actually track where in the customer journey each deal is at through the platforms. They don't have to, be calling or emailing us saying, where's the deal at? Obviously, our guys will keep you updated. But if you want a quick snapshot, you can go in there anytime, have a look at where the deals are at. And also, when the deal settles, we pay in the following Wednesday's pay run. We also do all the invoicing for you, so you can go into your portal and just download the invoice. So we just keep it as simple as possible. So again, it's just, we're always looking at how can we make this as easy as possible for our partners to start offering business and commercial finance without becoming an expert, without additional headcount, without additional expense. So it's just another way where we just make it easier to get into this space.
The other part that you touched on, James, just with the emails, with the scenarios and the case studies that you used to send us.
Yeah.
I know that you gave us full authority to do so, but we did used to what we call, the R&D, rip off and duplicate.
Yeah.
We used to just pop those into our funnels and repurpose them. And we got lots of deals out of it. We actually put that we do asset finance and commercial back on our website because we had that connection with you guys. Because we were now able to do it, where sometimes you feel that you don't really want to advertise the fact if you can't offer that service. So yeah, we kind of got so integrated at the time. It was really good. We felt very comfortable doing that. And I thought the case studies, because they came from you and they were realistic, it was really good. And of course, you guys are concentrating on the timing. So the workflow, the cash flow, working capital deals came out when you knew that these people were buying stock. So it kind of took out the brain work for us, because we just more or less forwarded it onto our database and knew the timing was right. And that yielded results for us. It was great.
Yeah, and look, that's a really good point. I think one of the common pain points I hear from our partners each day as well is, look, I don't have time to put together EDMs. I don't have time to put together content to, send to my client base, to send to my referrers. And so what we do is, and if you want to join our mailing list, please drop us a note, send us an email. But what we do is each week, like Ben said, we'll send out a scenario example. We try to focus on niches. So we try to focus on different areas that you might not be aware that there's actually finance solutions for. Like, for example, a one-day ABN. We can fund a client with a one-day ABN to buy a truck. We can fund a business loan for someone who's only been trading 6 months. We can do a $50 million development finance deal. So because there's just so many different options and niches, we try and each week provide a scenario example in a niche. So one that you can upskill and learn in the space to unlock more deals for your clients, and educate your clients further. But even, like Ben said, you can repurpose those scenario examples. They're fantastic for generating leads within your own client base and in the broader market. So literally repurpose those scenario examples, put them in your EDM. Hey, here's a list of all the finance we can help you with. All the templates are online on our website. Grab the templates. Here's an email template. Here's the type of finance I can help you with. Here's a scenario example. The scenario example just makes it more real for both your clients and your referral partners. And it's just an easy way to sort of generate more business without too much, effort or time spent on your time. But look, I think we'll keep it short and sweet. We will finish up there. I wanted to thank everyone for their time today. If you do want to get in touch with either Ben or myself, please email or drop us a line. Ben does some fantastic work in the industry with some really high profile and exciting clients, and I'm sure he'd be more than happy to have a conversation today. And likewise with Valiant, we're always looking at how we can support the industry and do more with our partners. So do get in touch. And Ben, is there any final comments you want to leave us with?
Oh, look, I think the opportunities nowadays, look, we're the mortgage industry, real estate industry, finance industry, accounting industry always goes through these highs and lows. And I think everyone is always looking to offer a range of services to their clients. And I think the most effective way you can do that is staying in your lane whilst building really good business partnerships. It has been very fruitful for us. I'm very grateful for that. It's given us a great revenue stream. It's allowed us to focus on our business. It's allowed my mentees to be able to have an extra income stream when they're brand new to this industry.
Yep.
I've promoted some existing mortgage brokers who have tried to dabble into commercial and asset and equipment finance, and it's not their jam. And so they've linked up with you guys and had tremendous success. So I'm a big fan of what you're doing. Congratulations. I think the platform's excellent. And I'm more than happy to encourage anyone to, if they haven't experienced what Valiant's done, to give it a go.
Thank you, Ben.
It really worked for us.
No, thank you very much. And likewise, the feeling's mutual. We've actually had one more question come through, so I just thought I'd quickly cover it. It was around a credit checks apply on all asset and commercial. Yes, we do run credit checks for all deals. We will only run the soft credit checks, but we do run it across all three main credit agencies. So what that means is certain lenders will only use certain credit agencies. So sometimes it just means that, again, depending on their credit, we can just make sure we're getting the best product and solution for their particular credit file and more broadly their particular business. So that is what we do, just the self credit checks up front, but it will be across all deals. It won't be the hard check until we actually go to the formal application with the lender, but that's only done after you or your client has approved the indicative quote where just the soft credit checks are done. What we will do is share the slides and the recording after this. So again, thank you, Ben, for joining us today. It's been a privilege and an honor. Thank you all for attending,
you,
and look forward to speaking to you all soon. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. See ya. Bye.